All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to talk about something that's silently affecting almost half of all adults. It's called insulin resistance. We're going to break down what it is, why you absolutely need to know about it, and most importantly, what you can actually do to turn things around. Just let this sink in for a moment. Right now, as you're listening to this, about 40% of adults are living with prediabetes or even full-blown type 2 diabetes. That is a huge number. We're talking about almost half the population dealing with a condition that has major ripple effects on their health down the road. It's just staggering. But here's the thing, and this is the key point a lot of people miss. High blood sugar, that's just the symptom. The real problem, the root cause that's been building up for years, sometimes decades, is insulin resistance. You can thank our modern food environment for this. It's just constantly pushing our bodies into storage mode. Okay, so to really get a handle on just how high the stakes are here, we have to look past the word diabetes. Because what we're really talking about is this silent engine driving so many of the major diseases we face today. I mean, look at this list. Insulin resistance is directly linked to pretty much all our major killers. And the scariest part? The damage to your heart, your brain, your blood vessels, it's all happening for years before you'd ever feel a single symptom. It's a completely silent process, which is exactly why we have to be proactive about it. But, and this is a big but, there is some really good news here. The most powerful tool you have to fight back against this is literally right in front of you. It's the food on your plate. So let's dive into some simple, proven strategies to make your plate your absolute first line of defense. So what's the goal here? What are we trying to do? Well, it's not about getting rid of carbs altogether. That's not the point. The real enemy is the speed and the sheer amount of sugar flooding your system all at once. See that spike? That's metabolically expensive. It's exhausting for your body. What we're aiming for is this gentle curve, a slow, manageable release of glucose that actually protects your metabolic health. And you want to know one of the absolute fastest ways to create that dangerous spike? Liquid calories. Yeah, I'm talking about fruit juices, those seemingly healthy smoothies, and of course, sugary sodas. When you drink your sugar, there's no fiber, nothing to slow it down. It hits your system like a freight train, causing this massive insulin surge, and then boom, the inevitable crash that leaves you feeling wiped out and craving more sugar. Okay, this next one is one of my absolute favorite hacks. It's so simple, but the effect is huge. All you have to do is eat the parts of your meal in this specific order. Why? Well, when you eat the fiber from veggies first, it literally creates this kind of mesh in your stomach that slows down how quickly you absorb the carbs you eat later on. It's a total game changer, and it costs you nothing. So with that idea in mind, let's think about a common scenario. What happens when you grab, say, a pastry, and you eat it all by yourself on a totally empty stomach? Well, you're pretty much creating one of the biggest, fastest glucose spikes you possibly can. It's what you could call eating naked sugars. There's just nothing there to buffer the sugar rush, so it's absorbed almost instantly, and your pancreas has to go into overdrive, pumping out a huge wave of insulin to deal with the chaos. It's one of the most metabolically damaging things you can do. But the fix is so simple. And no, it doesn't mean you can never have a treat again. The key is to just not eat them alone. If you have that exact same pastry after you've eaten a balanced meal, one with protein, fat, and fiber, that sugar gets absorbed as part of a whole package. The spike is way smaller, and the metabolic cost is just so much lower. Okay, so food is obviously a huge piece of the puzzle, but it's only part of the story. The habits we have every single day, our lifestyle choices, they play an equally critical role in all of this. Now, this one is probably one of the most underrated tools we have, building muscle. Think of your muscles as your body's personal glucose storage tank. The more muscle you have, the bigger your tank is to soak up any extra sugar from your blood. This fundamentally improves how your body handles sugar 24/7. Seriously, even just 2 or 3 resistance training workouts a week can start to move the needle in a big way. And here's another brilliant little hack for you. Just move after your meals. A simple 10 or 15-minute walk after you eat allows your muscles to pull glucose directly out of your bloodstream without needing insulin. It's like a metabolic backdoor that bypasses the whole system, and it dramatically blunts that post-meal spike. For years, we'd been told to eat small, frequent meals to keep the metabolism going. Well, that's a myth. Every single time you eat, your insulin goes up. If you're snacking all day long, your insulin never gets a chance to come back down. Your body needs those periods where insulin is low so your cells can reset their sensitivity and actually start burning fat for fuel. The connection here is just so immediate and so powerful. You don't need weeks of bad sleep to feel the effects. Just one bad night can wreck your insulin sensitivity the very next day. It throws your appetite hormones out of whack and fires up your cravings for all the sugary, carby stuff. And we can't forget about the hidden driver in all this, stress. When you're stressed out, your body releases the hormone cortisol. And cortisol's job is to tell your liver to dump stored glucose into your blood to prepare for fight or flight. But if you're just sitting at your desk stressed out, that sugar has nowhere to go. This becomes a source of high blood sugar that has absolutely nothing to do with what you just ate. So putting all these pieces together, it really requires a shift in how we think about this. Reversing insulin resistance isn't a 30-day fix. It's about playing the long game, and that means understanding what to track and most of all, focusing on being consistent. Okay, this is probably one of the most important things to understand. By the time your blood glucose shows up as high on a test, you've probably had high insulin for years, maybe even a decade. Glucose is a late marker. If you really want to get ahead of this, you have to measure your fasting insulin. It is the absolute earliest warning sign you can get. And these markers right here, these are the tools that will let you have a really informed conversation with your doctor. Besides fasting insulin, you can look at your HbA1c, which is basically a 3-month average of your blood sugar, and the triglyceride to HDL ratio. When you look at these together, they paint a much, much more complete picture of your metabolic health than a single glucose number ever could. We also have to rethink how we measure progress. That visceral fat, the fat packed around your internal organs, is the most metabolically dangerous kind. And BMI, it can be pretty misleading. Your waist circumference, on the other hand, is a much more direct and useful way to track that abdominal fat. So if your waist is getting smaller, you are definitely on the right track, no matter what the number on the scale says. And this might be the most important takeaway of all. This problem doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't get fixed overnight either. The goal isn't perfection, it's consistency. You don't have to do everything perfectly. Just pick a few of these strategies. A walk after dinner, eating your veggies first, and do them most of the time. Those small changes repeated day after day have a far greater impact than some dramatic diet that you only stick with for a week. I really want to leave you with this thought because it's so powerful. The habits you practice today, they are what determine whether your later years are active, vibrant, and enjoyable. These little choices, taking that walk, prioritizing sleep, they're not just for today. They're an investment in the quality of your life for decades to come. So, as we wrap this up, I want to ask you a simple question. Forget about a massive overhaul. Just think about one small thing. What's one small change from everything we've talked about that you can make